Some advice hits harder the second time you hear it. And Heidi Medina is back to prove just that. In a world drowning in content, she makes one thing crystal clear. Conversations, not algorithms, build real businesses. Heidi's journey spans 5 companies, reinvention, and a lifetime of turning too much into a superpower. In this episode, she shows why 2026 belongs to the business owners who stop broadcasting and start talking. This is where real life begins.
I always felt like I had to be fixing myself because there was something wrong with me because I asked too many questions. My dad funded us $300 that summer to buy pots, potting soil, and some seeds, right? And he said, you have to take care of it. You have to do it. I'm not doing it. And we made $1,100 that first summer. But still, for those 3 years, it was ours. But I still got to guide it and be part of it. And it was incredible that you had parents that actually supported you and being able to do something like that.
The trials and tribulations of running your own business are far and many. And to have that experience already at 16, it's just a crazy thought.
Yeah, I was already figuring out how to hack things at 14, 15 years old. It was the challenge of it all. I had grown it to a multi-six figure by 25. Divorce is the only reason it ended.
What I love about where you've ended up is that it's the complete polar opposite that most people would expect for somebody who's been diagnosed autistic. And yet here you are.
When people are in your life and things are great and then they ghost you and treat you no longer exist. I still don't understand that part. I had the ex-CEO of PepsiCo on a Sunday. I sent her a thing because I was drinking one of their naked juice products.
Because if you want to use cheap and nasty AI to try and get into people's inboxes, go ahead. Because all that does is it makes it so much easier for the genuine people like us to just knock on the door.
Quit looking down on these people and start making friends with them because they're going to send you your next client. And then you don't have to do all that marketing. Life gets easy. Quit focusing on content and start talking to people.
She's back. And she's back to remind us that human connection isn't a tactic, but it's a business model. Heidi Medina is a 5-time entrepreneur and business relationship strategist who believes that people don't refer followers, they refer relationships. Having already joined MarketPulse once in season 1 to unpack the power of real conversations, Heidi returns with a more personal focus this time. This time we explore the evolution of Talk to Heidi from its conversational marketing roots to a global movement about building genuine relationships in business and life. Now based in Portugal, Heidi's story is one of reinvention, from corporate consultant to entrepreneur to mentor of hundreds of business owners who've turned conversations into paying clients. Her message has matured into something timeless. Authentic connection beats any algorithm. I can't say that loud enough. Heidi, welcome back. How are you?
I think so much. I'm so excited.
I love the bios that we get on the show now. I feel so good reading them out. It's so much fun. And we have so many amazing personalities. I mean, I've been introducing you to quite a few of the guests that we've had on the show. And I'm just I'm so pleased with the progress that we've made. But I'm so pleased also to have some of the guests back like yourself, Heidi, for a round 2, because I don't think we did you justice completely the first time. I don't think we heard your story enough the first time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I think it's amazing too. I mean, you and I, we just send people back and forth with each other. And it's just, people don't get truly how magical that is, do they?
It's fun. And I think for the most part as well, for me, it almost always lands. There's always something that comes out. It's almost always something that comes out of those connections. Whereas I've been in partnerships with people before where we've referred people and kind of, it's nice, but like, this isn't really going anywhere. It's not quite the right person that I needed to meet. Whereas you and we're definitely aligned. We get each other. There's some real purpose and intent in amongst all of it, which I love.
Well, and that's the difference though. We've gotten to know each other. And it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this the other day. You think about arranged marriages, and a lot of people, of course, the people in the arrangements, they fight it. And oh my God, because they were engaged at 12 years old or whatever. But in the end, they end up with this great marriage, because their parents, their outside people knew them as well, if not better than themselves. And I kind of think that's where we go when we end up with being a good introduction, a good referral partner. When you get to know someone, all of a sudden you start seeing these connections that maybe they can't, or you ran into them first, and then you said the other day, you get to be the magic thread that connects the people. And I was like, yes, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That was in one of my comments, linked to comments, and you said that. And I was like, that's exactly what it is. And it's because we got to know each other why those all hit in some way.
And true story, 4 of my friends when I was at college, I introduced to each other who ended up marrying each other.
Oh, wow.
Introduced them.
That's why you were laughing.
There's only one of those still together. I'll add that as well, but like life gets in the way, right? But hey.
Hey, you were young, Paul. You'll do better now.
I did do better. I kept the best personally.
Sometimes it takes more than one try. I got mine on the second try too.
We all go there. So it's a good segue back to the past though, right? Who was young Heidi at home, at college?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm late diagnosed autism and gifted combo. And so I grew up as what people considered a precocious child who probably didn't shut up and ask why way too much. But it was also hard in a lot of ways too, because I always felt like I had to be fixing myself because there was something wrong with me because I asked too many questions. I was too curious. And there was also this thing too that even like in school and things like that, because I pick up things very fast. And I know how to do a lot of things. And if I turn my attention to it, I learn how to do it. And there was all this growing up that, being told that I was too much. I lost a lot of friends. I mean, even in my family, it was never always comfortable because I'm always too much. And so it was I learned so much growing up, and but there's definitely been some interesting things of finally learning that there's nothing wrong with you.
There is. And we all have our own foibles and our own unique way of doing things as well, right? What was your first job, your first real job?
Well, I grew up in a family entrepreneur relationship with a business. So my first job was already big enough to walk, was already having to help with the farm. So I grew up on a produce farm. And so I have been one of those children farm families work from day one. It doesn't matter what age you are, you're helping out. And then I actually, even because of being in an entrepreneur family, my grandparents were entrepreneurs, my parents were, and my second sister and I actually started my first business when I was 13, she was 11. That business still operates and exists today. My parents or my dad and my little sister run it today.
Special shout out in today's episode for our charity partners, ADHD Liberty, led by Sarah Templeton, who are part of the fight to prevent the school to prison pipeline for ADHD and neurodiverse individuals. If you'd like to find out more, you can visit them. The show links are in the notes below. And I would encourage you to go along and have a look and educate yourself on their fight. It's an incredibly important cause, and we're super proud to have them as charity partners for the MarketPulse Pros and Pioneers podcast. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your episode. Tell us about it. What was that first business? What did an 11-year-old dream up?
13-year-old for me, but 11-year-old. So like I said, we grew up in a family produce farm, and me and my sister got this idea. We wanted to grow flowers. Because why not? We already after school, we would be working the produce stand for my parents a couple hours after school and selling all fruits, vegetables, that kind of stuff. And we were like, well, we think we could sell some flowers. So my dad funded us $300 that summer to buy pots, potting soil, and some seeds, right? And he said, you have to take care of it. You have to do it. I'm not doing it. And we made $1,100 that first summer. We did it. I remember we grew marigolds, we grew petunias, and so we grew 3 types of flowers. We made $1,100, And that was 13 and 11. By the time I hit senior year in high school, we couldn't do it no more between getting ready to go to uni and all the school prep. And we're later in high school. And so my dad and mom took it over and continued it because they saw the potential, because we had grown it by that point to where one of my dad's smaller greenhouses had flowers in it by the time we let it go. And I don't remember what we made our final season. But we still stayed guiding the business throughout. I mean, because my second business was a landscape business. So I was still guiding with my dad on that side to grow the plants I needed in my landscape business.
Well, that's how you do it, right? It's connected businesses that have mutual benefit, right?
Yeah. It's truly amazing that business was the start of creating so much. I mean, yes, it's not mine. It hasn't been mine since I was 16 years old, but still, for those 3 years, it was ours. But I still got to guide it and be part of it. And it's an incredible part as a child or young kid, that you had parents that actually supported you and being able to do something like that.
Yeah. I can't help but think like that must have set you some way above your peers when you went out into full-time education and things, because at this point you've already run a business, right? Like no matter the size of the business or what it's doing, the trials and tribulations of running your own business are far and many. And to have that experience already at 16, it's just a crazy thought.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because there was times at that point, and I never felt like, don't get me wrong, as a teenager, of course, I felt like I missed out on some things. But because you didn't do as many after school activities because you had to come home and take care of the business and that kind of stuff. So, but you still learned so much but for me, and here's the thing though, for me, I needed that because I had all this brain power and school. I was in advanced classes at school. I already done a lot. I did at that. Our time, it was called college prep. Part of the classes I did in high school transferred to college already. And so here I was doing all these extra heavy classes that were above and beyond because that's what helped keep my brain occupied. And then having this business helped that too, because otherwise I got very bored, not having enough to do. So it was really cool to have that extra thing that challenged me,
I do. But then you went off to full-time education, right? What did you study?
For a minute. Now, see, I'm a dropout. At the beginning, I finished late. I actually got my degree at 34. The reason is because my dad brought home our first computer, again, 13. 13 apparently was a monumental year for me. That was our first computer came home. I took to computers immediately. And tech has always been something that I loved it. I loved it from day one. I mean, I was already breaking things at the end code and stuff like that. And I don't talk about this too much, but I was already figuring out how to hack things way back at 14, 15 years old at that point of the process. And didn't cause any harm, but still, it was the challenge of it all.
Yeah.
And then being able to take that out into the world, and just... So I got into, when I went into uni, what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to do the front end computer stuff. Front end. I just didn't care about putting together the back end stuff. Soldering a processor board, whatever. I really didn't give a shit. Just let me do the front part, the websites, that kind of stuff. And at that point, uni did not have a program. It was called computer science. You had to learn how to build the computer first. And so I did part of a year in that, and then another part of a year in criminal justice, because I decided at that point I'm going to go be either a cop or a lawyer. Hadn't decided which yet. So I was learning fingerprinting, all that kind of stuff. And then I got bored. I guess this is a theme I hadn't realized before, but it wasn't keeping me going. And so I dropped out and I got a job with a landscape company. And that one actually is the lead into how my second business got started, with working with them 3 years first. So
I've run out of words when we talk about your past, Heidi, because there's so many similarities, right? So I went to software engineer. I went to study software engineering at uni. I wanted to be a website developer. I didn't want to be a front-end designer, to be fair. I didn't want to make them look pretty. I wanted to make the code snappy in the back. I couldn't do that. So I had to do a software engineering course, which is kind of half computer science for the first couple of years. And then you branch off. And so yeah, we often nerd out together on tech quite a lot. But why did you want to go and be a cop/lawyer? What led you down that path in the first place? What did you see in it?
So I got in a little bit of trouble way back in the day. I was dating a guy. This one comes back to the guy I was dating. So in all that process, I got exposed to the system. And in my brain, I knew I could do something different with it. But as I got more in it, got more learning about it and things like that on the back end, I realized I wasn't going to be able to make the difference that I would have liked to make the difference. So it was, our criminal justice system's broke in a lot of countries. Yeah, in U.S. And so I had this whole idea at 18 because I graduated at 17. And at 18, I had this whole romantic idea I could go in the system and help change things and this and that. So I did that, but then getting in it and getting exposed to it, realized I wasn't going to be able to make that impact. It's the same reason David's always like, you should go into politics. And I'm like, politics is too broken.
We can't even get there. I'm not even going there on this show. We're not going there.
No, don't go there. That's all I'm mentioning. Right now. And there's all I'm mentioning about it. But some of these systems are just too broken for me. I feel like I'm better used elsewhere into supporting business owners and doing more so we can change the world through people.
I agree. So then you've got a job in a landscaping business and you decided that you want to run your own, right? Like that's...
I didn't actually. I didn't. No. So what happened was it was a family-owned business. It was a relatively small company. I mean, I think they had about around 30, 35 employees total. I got hired in on the maintenance side, which was the lawn mowing, the pruning, the hedges, taking care of everything that was installed after the point. And I was there 3 years. It was the only company that had a woman in it. It was a husband and wife owned company. And the maintenance side had a female boss, which trained me. And she left the company, I think 2 years in, and I actually ended up taking over her spot of managing that entire department. And a year later, I mean, we're working in these communities that people dream of getting into, CEOs, movie stars, the creme de la creme of that. So I ended up in this field by just luck, in a sense. And a year after she had quit and I taken over her spot, they decided they were going to let go that entire department. And they came to me and gave me the opportunity to take it over. They're like, either you can buy the equipment we have, you can go out and get your own equipment. I had to pitch the clients. But here it is. I've been working with these clients for 3 years. So I had already built the relationships with them. And so when Henry and Heather came to me and they're like, we are letting this go. We would like to give you the opportunity first. They didn't even try to sell it to me. They gave it to me. And I mean, and gave me the opportunity. I had to do it all, but they gave me the opportunity. And so I was very lucky in my first business in that sense that I had worked hard. I had earned the respect. And of course I wasn't turning it down. So that's how my second business got started at 21. I had grown it to a multi-six figure by 25. Divorce is the only reason it ended.
And you've worked with some amazing, well, not worked with directly, but you've cut the lawns and landscape for some of the world's most amazing celebs, right?
I did. And I got to meet these people and talk to them and hang out with them. I had parties with some of them. And some of them I never met. Some of them you only ever met the front person that dealt with you. But there was others that I've had dinner with and just got sit down and literally shoot the shit with these people, And you learned really quickly that they're normal people like the rest of us. It was funny, such an experience.
I was having this conversation the other day with someone. I can't quite remember how we got onto the topic. I think it was around footballers and what footballers in England get paid and all this sort of thing. And I said, well, it's funny though, right? Because It doesn't matter how much money you've got to a point. Somebody's got to wash up after you've eaten tea.
Yep.
Somebody has to read the kids a story before they go to bed.
Yeah.
Somebody has to deal with that hangnail that your son has before bedtime. Somebody has to fold the laundry and put it away. And it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you get, unless you've got a servant living with you 24/7, which who wants that in 2025, right? There's not many people that have that. But like, it's a great equalizer. Like, we all live this very normal life, and just our tastes and expenses change. That's all it is. More zeros you get in your bank account, the more you spend on things. And I could go on for ages, but like, they're just normal people. Like, but people
They
fan
are.
over them all the time. That's the problem. I can imagine that's annoying.
Yeah. And do they have the funding that they can do some things all of us can't do? Like, I mean, I had clients that had live-in nannies. I had clients that the fifth house, the one we took care of, was 40,000 square foot home that was seen maybe 2 weeks out of the year. You know what I mean? So I had those types of people. I mean, Kim Basinger, Alex Baldwin, both had houses next door. They were neighbors to each other and figured it out, and where I did that. And it's just but they're just people.
Yeah.
They really are just people. Their life might look a little bit different, but at the end of the day, they have problems just like we do. They still laugh, they still talk, and it's really cool, I think, getting exposed to that. You kind of lose your starstruckness after a while too.
Yeah.
Because you just realize they're
do.
just people.
Differential.
Every now and then you meet one that's like, oh my God. But it's not often.
But I think that's a beautiful segue into where you're at now, right? Because people are just people across all walks of life. And being able to build relationships, being able to connect people I think is a beautiful skill. I love being able to do that for people and help people in a way that sometimes they can't even help themselves in that way. What was the point where you decided that you were going to set up Talk to Heidi? What was the crucible that said, this is enough, I'm doing it?
Well, I just really wanted to get to supporting smaller to mid-sized business owners. I had already been on the back end freelancing for corporate, doing content, social media management for almost a decade, doing a lot of the writing, blogs and actual content that people see on the other side. And been doing that for almost a decade. And don't get me wrong, there's still things I'm going to be doing for corporate here and there and stuff. But I really wanted to get back to supporting business owners because I had been one by this time. Talk to Heidi's my fifth business. And so to be able to get back into supporting that, because I was watching so many people in the online space struggle. And the biggest reason they struggle is they're not building the relationships. They're not talking to people. They're focused on posting content and doing all this stuff. But to be able to come back, and the more I was away from it, the more I felt drawn back to it and being able to support. Because I do think small business owners, if we put enough money in their hands and things like that, they're going to change the world.
What I love about where you've ended up is that it's the complete polar opposite that most people would expect for somebody who's been diagnosed autistic. And yet here you are, right? A lot of people would wrongly assume that somebody who's autistic wouldn't be able to build those relationships or enjoy building relationships or help others build relationships. And yet here we are. And I think that's beautiful that you can challenge that popular belief, that misconception that that's the case, and excel at what you're doing, because you are amazing at what you do, Heidi.
Oh, I think part of it is because I did struggle. I dealt, and there are still things today that people do that I really don't get why they do it when it's so easy just to talk to each other. And the problem goes away, and I find that so frustrating. But I had problems growing up with people, I would have really good friends that would all of a sudden just refuse to talk to me anymore. And I never knew why. They were just gone from my life. Friends and I still don't understand that these days. That part hurts. It always will when people just are in your life and things are great, and then they just literally ghost you and treat you, that you no longer exist. And I still don't understand that part. But so going into this but because of all that I was learning, and going into this is a little bit, because a lot of people are like, yeah, you really want to help people, and I do, but a little bit of it's selfishness, if we want to call it that, because I know that communication will solve any problem that we have. And so if I can help people communicate better and more, it helps me. Because like those people that just disappeared on me and I never knew why, I never knew if I did. Obviously, I must have done something. I don't know what, but and they didn't tell me to give me a chance to, because it would never been intentional. But
Yeah.
now to be able to allow people to have that skill of being able to communicate so you have better relationships with clients, your family, your friends, and everything is just, I just watch so many businesses struggle. And the reason they do it is lack of communication that works, because they don't know what to do.
Yeah. Which is surprising, because we all grow up living a life around building relationships with people our entire lives. But then all of a sudden there's a gap where we can't see how to apply that to a business situation, right?
Yeah. Well, even in regular relationships, it's not. But think about this. This is a skill that you learn from the moment you start talking. You start hearing it first, and then you start talking. And the only learning you get when it comes to communication is what you mirror and pick up from the people around you. We're not taught this skill, this life skill of interacting with other people and things like that. I mean, one of the things that I got to learn, David and I, my husband, early on in our relationship, we had some issues, and our issues came because we couldn't communicate with each other. So we went into couples therapy, and we were in it for 3 years learning how to communicate with each other. But that also helped me. I already was building good relationships, but did it help me build them better? Absolutely. It taught me skills of communicating with someone to help them not feel threatened. It taught me how to express myself better in a way that other people could understand me, and again, feel empowered, not threatened. Because a lot of the ways we word ourselves and things like that, even though we're not intentionally doing it, it comes off accusatory and stuff like that. And that's what happens in business. Because as a business, people forget a lot of what we're doing is handling people's problems. They wouldn't need to hire us otherwise, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when people cold pitch, and you and I know about shitty cold pitching. That's the thing we bond over.
This is how we met. Yeah.
But what people do is they think they're doing well by coming at somebody in a cold pitch, and they're saying, oh, this is what's wrong with your business, and I can help. But here's a stranger saying, this is what's wrong with you. Immediately, we're like, no. We don't want that. We don't know you, and you're sitting here saying something's wrong with me, and so that's why it doesn't work so well.
And I think there's worse, right? Like, a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are neurodiverse, right? This is well known. We're attracted to the risk taking, we're attracted to the dopamine, we're attracted to the challenges and the problems that come with it. And every neurodiverse person I've met has much better Spidey senses than your average neurotypical person on these things, right? Like, you don't even have to say something spammy to me for me to know you're about to pitch me. I can just see it coming. I've never ever wrong.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, right? Okay, I'm going to answer this like this, and then the next thing you're going to do is, bam, there you go. Thank you. Yes, you have a webinar coming up in a week's time, and would I like to attend? No, I wouldn't. No, thank you. I don't know who you are, and no, I really don't need to have your services rammed down my throat more. Thank you.
David laughs at me. Do you do this? Sometimes I will intentionally take one knowing they're going to pitch me just to prove myself right.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I don't want to be a bad person here. Maybe I'm cynical, but I think this is what's going to happen. Oh, yep, not cynical.
But we're so aware. That our awareness that we want to make sure that we're not being cynical on it. That's an awareness in itself that's a superpower, that we actually test ourselves rather than just automatically assume. But I do. I took one just the other day, and I could tell. I knew it. And no, for she started off immediately. She sends me a message. She's praising what she sees. It's enough that she's obviously has looked at my profile. And then the next thing when I responded back was, I asked her, what was it about the relationship over algorithm? Because she said, oh, I love how you build relationships over functioning for the algorithms or something like that. And I came back and I said, so what was it about that really attracted you? And she's like, oh my God, the relationship building. And have you thought about writing a book? It's like, that was it. That was quick. That was very quick.
But we all feel it, right? Like, we all feel it. And I think I've said this before. I think a lot of people wait until they're desperate to try outreach, right? They assume that their marketing and sales is going to work and it's going to bring people in. I just need to wait long enough. And the runway runs out. And now I'm in desperation status because this month I need to bring money in, or I need to bring it in now. And the only thing that brings in results now is cold pitching now. And now works for you. It doesn't work for them is the sad truth of it. Like, we value relationships over almost everything else.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Paul. I actually can do cold pitching and do it very well. And I can teach people how to do it. I mean, and I have. Because there are certain situations where cold pitching works. Corporations. I mean, I did that for 10 years. Of course I'm cold pitching. And I learned to do it well. I mean, I had the ex-CEO of PepsiCo on a Sunday. I sent her a thing because I was out. I was drinking one of their naked juice products. I don't know if they have that in the UK, but they have naked juice.
I know what it is, though, yeah.
Yeah, so all the juice products. So I literally was in the store. I got my favorite one. I uncapped it. And all of a sudden, I was just hit with this idea for them for influencer marketing that would work, a campaign. So I immediately just dashed out. I think it was 5 or 6 sentences. There's over on my blog is the actual pitch I sent on a Sunday afternoon directly to the CEO. And within 2 hours, she had responded, still Sunday afternoon, can you meet my marketing manager on Monday? $64 billion company CEO on a Sunday personally.
There's definitely a science behind it, I would call it, almost.
No, it's not. I was still building a relationship. Cold pitch or not, I went in it from a point of building a relationship, and I did not talk anything about what was wrong with the company. Instead, I was talking about what I was excited and that I loved the product and that I had this great idea and I just wanted to share it. I still was building a relationship.
But it's like, with all the AI that's proliferated since the last time, even just since the last time we had her on the show, Heidi, I think, so many people rail against it, right? And I'm all for it. I'm all for it because if you want to use cheap and nasty AI to try and get into people's inboxes, go ahead. Because all that does is it makes it so much easier for the genuine people like us to just knock on the door and go, hey, so this cool thing that you did, I really like it. We should chat. I'm your people. And that's really all it's about, right? Like, it's finding your tribe. And again, even like people talk about finding their ICP, their ideal client persona, right? Great. Okay. But your ideal persona is this box here, right? Mm-hmm. You've also got to throw into that the people you get on with, the people you align with. And what actually you'll probably end up with is this tiny little circle up here. And they're your people. They're the ones you need to reach. Inside that big box there, right in this little corner here, they're your people. The rest of these people, they need your stuff, but they won't like you, or they don't get you, or they don't understand you. Finding those people, that's genius. And that's the bit that's fun, because then you enjoy your business, right?
Well, and that's how we get to build the relationships. And I think the biggest thing I see people missing, and I suspect you'll agree with me on this, people are only focused about finding the clients. They're not focused about building relationships like yours and mine, where we refer people back and forth and introduce people and expand our networks. And, that's something that, I help people with too. And because we know this makes our business so much easier. So while you're focused on just this little corner that's your ideal client, what about your ideal target audience? Those people that are super fans, going to comment on all your content so that it gets seen by your ideal client. send you introductions, talks about, I mean, the amount of people you send me, or I know when I'm at a networking event, oh, you need to meet Paul Banks. You know, he would be perfect. You guys should, and next thing you know, obviously I'm connecting you. But people don't do enough of that and realizing that make these relationships with industry leaders and influencers. Quit looking at these people, down on these people, and start making friends with them, because they're going to send you your next client. And then you don't have to do all that marketing. Life gets so much easier.
What I would say on that note, though, is to be careful not to create content for those super fans.
Yes.
Right? Because they're not the people that you want to reach in the end.
No.
You've still got to create content for
your
the people that you want to reach, that want to work with you.
Yes.
Your super fans will then, because I see a lot of this is people go out and they chase the likes and engagement in the comments. Well, I posted this the other day and it did really well. And loads of people commented on it.
No.
And I'm going to create more of that. Great. Okay. But what does your target audience think of that content? Because if it gets in front of them and it's not doing its job, doesn't matter how much noise you make, you're whistling into the wind.
Well, and that's what I remind people too, because a lot of people are like thinking, oh, I didn't get enough views. I didn't get enough likes, comments, whatever on it because, oh, I was talking about my business. Well, that's actually the way it should be. And so many people are like, oh, I want all my posts to look like, do you look like coffee or tea? You know, or here's what I did last weekend with my family. And of course, because that's the stuff everybody will comment on. That's the stuff that everybody can relate to. But we don't want our posts that are our business posts flooded, because that means we're not narrowing it down to our people.
Yeah.
So many forget that.
I couldn't agree more. Like and honestly, we could go on for hours and hours talking about this. I don't want this to become this isn't a lecture on how to do things the right way or the wrong way. This is Heidi's story, but I think it's a phenomenal journey that you've been on. And I think people, if you've followed the story through, you can see how you've gotten to the point where you are now, where you're an expert at giving that advice on building the conversations. What I'm going to say is this is episode 2 of 2026, Heidi. So I know we're recording in November, right? Like my decorations aren't even up yet. And we're going out mid-January on this episode. So in 2026, what's the first step for business owners to creating better relationships with the people they need to meet? What do they need to, what's the one thing that they should be starting to do now?
Quit focusing so much on content and start talking to people.
We had an argument about that the first time you said that.
I know.
But you're right.
I was going to say that, didn't you?
Well, you're right. I get it. You're right.
But it's
not about
true.
volume of
It's
content.
true. If we're not talking to people, then you cannot build a relationship. You cannot. And people are instead, let me post that piece of content. Let me do this. While you're focused on content, you could have been talking to 5, 6, 7, 10 people. And don't get me wrong, we still need some content. We need that. That helps. We want content. That's part of the process. But at the end of the day, if you're not having enough conversations, that's why you don't have enough clients.
I love it.
That's simple.
It's a great statement to leave on. Thank you very much for your time today, Heidi. It's been great to have you back. Have a fantastic week.
Thank you.
And viewers, listeners, watching along at home, thank you very much for joining us today on this edition. I hope you are having a great start to 2026. And if you are, please give us a subscribe and a follow. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much. See you later.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to feature on a future show, or you've got some ideas for folks who would make a great guest, please drop us a line. Contact details are in the show notes and I'd love to hear from you. Your host today was me, Paul Banks, founder at Javelin Content Management. Here at Javelin, we specialise in helping busy business owners just like you to repurpose video content, taking all the stress and tech problems away and turning your long form video into literally hundreds of pieces of content without breaking the bank. We describe it as getting ideas out of your head into video and out to your socials. If you want to launch your personal brand, become the vendor of choice for your audience, or maximise your sales revenue impact, we'd love to hear from you. Join us next Wednesday for the next episode, and don't forget to subscribe and give us a review. Our podcast is only possible with your continued support.